How we doing, guys? True Crime King back Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend. And let's get right into it. So we're going to be taking a look at this video. Detective Maines is his name, and he is saying that the knife sheath was planted. Kohberger's innocent. Apparently, he was a detective, so we're gonna watch this and see why he thinks this, and I'm gonna react to it. That's what's gonna happen. So, yeah, here we go.
You have to look at cases. I mean, you don't have to. You do whatever you want. But I'm telling you right now, when you look at cases through a common sense perspective, statistics, likelihoods, possibilities to probabilities, that is when you're going to realize, hey, this is what makes sense. And that's all you're trying to do when you're asking yourself the question, why? Why is this murder taking place? Why did this happen? Break it down to common sense. Deduce it from possibilities to probabilities. When you do that, you can see how things happen. Now, you're going to tell me that somebody else murdered these 4 students, and what did I read? Somebody sent me something about a janitor or somebody else, a teaching assistant or somebody stole Bryan's car, went over there with his knife. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't the Bourne Identity, okay? This isn't TV. I think sometimes people watch too many TV shows.
Well, okay, maybe he doesn't think Bryan's innocent. I don't know. The title of the video is Idaho Murder Suspect Was Framed, Knife Sheath Was Planted, a real detective's opinion.
It's just not reality, okay? Yeah, sure, somebody could certainly plant something and steal his car, but is that possible?
Yeah, I don't think that's possible, right? Or probable, or, I mean, come on. You know, that's my opinion, right? I don't think someone fucking got in Kohberger's car, or drove it over there, and is framing Kohberger. Not at all. I don't think that at all.
Is it probable? No. People want to make things so complicated.
And you don't have to be a detective to figure that one out, you know what I mean? And really, I mean, being a detective doesn't really help you in any of these cases, like an ex-detective. I mean, you're not privy to any of the information that the actual law enforcement working on the case has. So you only really, if you are a detective and you're retired and you have a YouTube channel, you don't know much more than the average person fucking watching this, or, you know, having their own opinion on the murder, okay? I mean, because when you're not working on the case, like, and getting the actual inside information, I mean, you're just the same as everybody else, okay?
When it's really very simple. Now, how did his DNA get on this knife sheath? Some people say, it would, like I said, it was covered in blood, so how could they get his DNA? Well, I think they explained it in the affidavit of probable cause. It was on the snap.
A button, yeah. underneath the button is where they found his DNA, apparently.
So how did it get there? Do you think that somebody went over to Bryan Kohberger while he was sleeping and just happened to open up the knife sheath and take the snap part and put it on his thumb?
Yeah, that didn't happen.
About that. That's ridiculous. When he bought the knife, he opened up the snap, took out the weapon, put it back in there, and closed it. The night of the murders, he was wearing gloves, more than likely, right? So he unsnaps it, does what he does, leaves the sheath there. His DNA was already on it. Maybe when he bought it...
I don't think he planned to leave the sheath there, though. He either dropped it by accident during the scuffles, or somebody, one of the four defending themselves, knocked the sheath out, right? Kohberger, he wouldn't just leave his fucking knife sheath there on purpose, okay? Unless he's dumber than a rock.
He wasn't thinking about committing a murder. He wasn't thinking about the DNA that's going to be left there. Just because the guy has a PhD or going for a PhD doesn't mean he has street smarts. I think you guys are giving him way too much credit. Okay? Think of it like a boxer. Okay? You have a game plan, or a UFC fighter. You watch tape. You know you're going to fight this guy in 3 months. So you're watching tape. You see that he's dropping his left hand after he throws a counter punch, whatever it is. So you're ready for that, okay? You train for that, okay? When you're sparring, okay? He's dropping his left. I can hit him with the right. And you train for it, and you train for it, and you train for it. And you're ready. The day of the fight, well, you know what's going to happen. You feel confident, okay? Everything, and you're the favorite, and everything looks good. And then you get in there, and all of a sudden, the guy is boxing a southpaw stance, and it screws it up. And then you start fighting, and he hits you, and you're like, I'm not expecting this. I've trained for 3 months for this, and now I have something completely different happen.
Well, you gotta be able to adapt, improvise and adapt, and then overcome, right?
And you have to adjust. Maybe equate that to Kohberger. He was stalking, seen him do this, seen him do this, seen him do this, from his car window, from wherever he was, in the woods, sitting in the car, but not...
Okay, he was definitely stalking him, in my opinion. Okay, let's see where it's going.
Binoculars, watching. They're here, this time, everything's good. I'm going to do this, It's easy. I got this. I got to do it tonight. She's leaving tomorrow. This is my last chance. I'm going. And then you get in there, and they have a southpaw stance. Something happens which you were not expecting.
Okay, well, number one. First of all, when Kohberger goes in that house, he's not going to know exactly, he's going to hope everybody's in their bedroom asleep, right? Because you're going in there at 4 in the morning, okay? Apparently, he probably, knows where the bedrooms are because he was stalking them, right? And watching them probably through the woods. But then, I guess he's kind of right because, number one, he probably didn't expect Maddie and Kaylee to be sleeping in the same room, okay? So that probably made it a little harder, right? I'm sure he had to have, this is my other thing, he had to have known that there was another roommate's bedroom, on the second floor with Ethan and Xana, right? If he planned this out and was stalking him like he was, like I believe. So why didn't he go in Dylan's room and pass it and just walk by and go. I mean, did he have something against Ethan and Xana? I mean, that still does not make any sense to me, that part of it.
And you don't adjust. You leave your knife sheath there with your DNA on it.
Well, I'm sure Bryan Kohberger didn't know either his DNA was on the sheath, or didn't realize he left the sheath until it was too late, right? Maybe that's why he was going back. Maybe he was looking for see if how many people were there, if there was any way he could go in and get it, or oh, I don't know. Or maybe he was just checking out all the damage he did. But yeah.
Now, is that too far out there to comprehend? I mean, most of the time you have to look at the most plausible explanations to things. Now, let's leave the knife sheath and let's go down to people saying that the surviving roommate, DM, was involved. It was her boyfriend, and I mean, I really hesitate to even talk about this because it's so disrespectful to her. However,
okay, I don't know who's saying that she's involved, and I don't know what boyfriend he's talking about, but he's talking about DM, which is Dylan Mortensen, which is the girl that I just was talking about. I'm not saying she's involved. I'm saying, just asking the question of, why did she wait that long to call 911? Why didn't Bryan go in her room? Number two. And why didn't why didn't she call 911? Why did someone else that didn't even live there, like, why couldn't she go in the rooms herself? Why did she have to call somebody? She obviously knew something was wrong, right? I mean, why didn't either her or Bethany go in the room? Why did they call somebody else over to come? That too doesn't make much sense to me. But let's see what this guy says.
it just goes to show how I don't know whether conspiracy theorists and these people who never believe, and I don't know if conspiracy theorist is the right word. I choose to use that word to describe asinine statements in general. So,
but again, real quick, I've never heard anybody, me, accuse Dylan of being in on it or having something to do with it yet. It's just suspicious of her actions. I think most people just want to know why she waited that long, if there was drugs involved, something to that nature. I don't think anybody's saying that she killed her friends, right? But it's a possibility, okay? There's no way that this guy can rule that out. I mean, nobody can, except law enforcement, and until a trial comes.
just be forewarned that's why I do that. These people that want to, they can't see, or they don't want to see the official narrative. Okay? How about these people that for 6 weeks were saying it's Jack, the boyfriend?
Dude, you weren't saying Kohberger, you clown. I mean, oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing you're doing. What do you mean? People were just speculating on who it could possibly be, right? Nobody knew if it was Jack or not. But everybody was just trying to help solve it, or like just come up with a explanation in their head of who could have possibly did this, right? He's thinking that everybody that was saying that, or asking who could have done this, or was like saying Jack or one of the Jacks did it. Kohberger's name, nobody had Kohberger on their radar, okay? And yeah, if you want to prove it to me, then put it in the comments, your proof, or email it to me. But until I see it, nobody knew about Kohberger until the law enforcement told them about it. So,
and see, again, there's no reason I should get frustrated. But I do, again, and I go back to because, I know that the police cleared him. And they wouldn't have cleared him if they thought there was something there.
They could have just been saying they've cleared him so he doesn't get suspicious, okay? And they could have been tailing him, They do that for a lot of people. You're a detective or an ex-detective. You should know this, right?
But everybody else was jumping on that. And the hoodie guy,
Because they were both with them at the food truck 2 hours before they're killed. Okay? What the hell is this? Of course people are going to be talking about him, man. But this was back before it was solved. I want to know who this guy was. Obviously, this guy wasn't Detective Maines. You weren't saying anybody's name. You weren't thinking of who it could be, right? I mean, come on, man.
These are, and I'm going to call it like I see it, they're amateurs that don't know what they're looking at.
Amateur, yeah. Well, I'm gonna check some of your videos, right? And before the case was solved, and I'm gonna see whose name you were talking about, and then I'm gonna do another video on that.
And I've used this analogy before. It's like me going right over to this fuse box and opening it up and seeing all the breakers and all the wires, and
this guy just thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, right? But yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna check this guy's videos out and see who he was talking about, what names he was bringing up before Kohberger was caught and before Kohberger's name came up. And then I'm gonna do another video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like button. If you didn't, don't hit the like button. And until next time, True Crime King, out.